Well. We're back for another episode of the Dr. Pepper Guy podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Look at that. For those of you staring into the cameras, look at that. Just take 1 second. I know this is the only time you guys are going to be on camera. All right, you guys are the only see it. All 10 of you that listen to this, all right? Look at this. Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper. Brand new flavor that's out. It's crazy. Brand new flavor of Dr. Pepper that's out. It's great. And you know what? That is not even the big thing I want to talk about this week. I've consumed so much fantastic media this week. I'm up there. I've been having a good week. I've just been happier in general, and I love it. Oh my god, December, I was like, just make it stop. I was so down in the dumps for most of December and November. I was wrecked. And then even like up until like this last week in January, especially, I have been wrecked. On my vacation to Atlanta was great. I had a blast there. However, even that, like, the first day and the last day where it was just mostly traveling, I was not in a good mood. I was very grumpy. On that last day. On that last flight, I was like, all right, make me go. Just get me home. Can't we just invent teleportation so I can just go? I can get in there. I can just be home. I want to be in my bed. And now now there's a new Dr. Pepper flavor out, and it's actually good. I like it. For those of you who want to know my opinions, it's good. It's good. It's a good Dr. Pepper. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, wait, I have a coaster. Why am I not using that? All right, sorry. You guys don't get to see my coaster because it's below the camera line. Yeah, I am feeling so much better. I've been consuming so much fantastic media. I recently played Half-Life 2, which came out in 2004 and still holds up, I might add. Nearly 20 years old of a game. Still a great game. Oh my god. I was blown away by how much this game holds up. There were some problems I had, like NPCs. The NPCs in that game, the ones that move and like do things with you. There was one mission in the game called Follow Freeman. Spoilers, but basically you have the gameplay mechanic is that you have groups of people following you. Right? You have groups of people, you're doing things plot related, and that's the gameplay mechanic gimmick, right? And you cannot walk through them. I don't think this was by the intention of the developers. They get in your way constantly. And because it's a Valve game where you have to sort of figure out the level design as you play it the first time, Valve is very big on that. Valve is not like, okay. Valve is like, all right. Valve is big on their tiny little walkways right there. You have to figure out where you go in the level instead of like, okay. Instead of just being pointed in a direction and having it all laid out for you. They don't do mini maps. They don't do none of that. So naturally, you have to figure it out. And naturally, when you realize if you go down a way that's like, oh, crap, I'm not supposed to go this way. I want to double back. And then there's 4 NPCs blocking your hallway. You're just like, okay, bro. Okay. And there were times where, like, I thought the movement was like, okay, come on, bro. Come on. The movement was very finicky at times, which I had problems with. Like, I'm like, I did not move that much. I did not want to move that much. I banged that. Oh, wait, I am falling to my death now, you know? So, other than that, I thought the game was... One thing that really aged well is NPCs track your movements. Like, standard NPCs, they this is commonplace now, but at the time this was massive, where the NPCs walk. Like they'll look to see where you go. which is massive. Previously, it was really only enemies that did that. And even then, they sort of just turned, right? These NPCs like were the first time like you could just see there were certain ones where they would just move their eyes across, which is a really nice. That's something I noticed right away in the shooting and the combat. Oh, it felt so good. It felt so good to do things. There was like a scroll menu for all the guns, which I thought was annoying. Which initially isn't annoying, but gets worse when you have multiple guns. But then it sort of is like, okay, but you can use hotkeys. I'm just too lazy to learn that for one playthrough. So I'm not a speedrunner. So I wasn't really, looking to get good at the game. I was looking to just play the game and enjoy the game. I'm one of those gamers. I'm not one who's like, all right, how do I master this? I'm just like, how do I enjoy this game? I'm that way in general. I'm like, how do I enjoy this the most? How do I have the most fun while doing this? Or not even that. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna show up and enjoy it. I'm not gonna be like, all right, if this doesn't go well, I'm going to get really mad. I'm going to do this with obsession. I'm going to try hard. So yeah, that's how my mindset was playing the game. So I wasn't really thinking of popular strategies. Also, there was a mechanic with a rocket launcher where it's like if you I'm used to the modern day rocket launchers where you just look, shoot, duck. I'm used to Call of Duty where rocket launchers are basically sniper rifles, so you can just be like, boom, boom, duck. However, this rocket launcher in this game had like a gimmick where it had like a targeting system where you had to keep aiming at your target at where it would hit. So like you had to keep it hold there. It wasn't like point and shoot. You had to like point, hold, and then it would hit, which I didn't discover till like the last big combat mission. So, not the final boss because I'm not going to spoil it, but you do not have access to the rocket launcher on the last mission. Any hoodle. Yeah, the first mission was fun though. You're like sort of navigating this area. And then you come back to that same area later in the game, and it's changed a lot, which I'm like, okay, that's a cool story bit. I just think that's a cool story bit. And, like, the vehicle sections. Oh, my God. Normally in video games, vehicle sections are like, okay, like, shooters, anyone who's played a shooter game, it's like the vehicle section is always the least memorable. You're like, that's the vehicle section is not why you bought the game, right? These vehicle sections were some of my favorites in the game because the best part, you can just get out of the vehicle at any time. There were segments where you would get there, realize you can't progress in the vehicle, and then get out. It's not like, all right, you gotta stop the vehicle and move, which I just love. It didn't coddle you through that. It was like, okay. And the vehicles were fun. The movement wasn't very clunky. The vehicles were fast and had great mechanics. One of them didn't even have a gun for most of the level. I was like, yo, this is awesome. I'm having fun just navigating this terrain like this. Like avoiding things shooting at you and all that. Again, no spoilers. But it's very fun. It is a very fun game. And now I want to play Half-Life Episode 1 and Episode 2, which are like sort of sequel-ish, kind of DLC-ish. I'm going to play them, right? I'm going to play them and enjoy them. And it's going to be great. So I'm very excited for that. Half-Life 2 is, great game. Great game. I had it because it was on sale through the Orange Box. The Orange Box, it's not on, this sale isn't there anymore, but there was like a limited time Christmas sale that I took advantage of. It was like 8 games for $2, which is like 25 cents a game. So I'm like, deal. But take my $2. I don't care. It's $2 for a bunch of video games. So now my library is just a lot bigger now, and it's all owned by Valve. So, and Valve owns Steam. So this deal was only on Steam. So Valve was like, Valve are some giga chads of the gaming industry. All right, they can't put out a sequel for the life of them, but you know what? They're still running Steam. They're doing stuff. They're like pushing the boundaries of the VR technology. They're doing that. I'm excited to see what they have. Obviously, it is a joke. Like, all right, hey, when's Half-Life 3 coming out? Like, Half-Life 3 is going to get insane. But the thing is, I feel like they've also waited a bit too long. Like, because most of the people who played the original Half-Life, who were there on launch day, they've all grown up. They're all old now. Like, they all have kids and stuff. Like, there's people that, played the game in its preceding years, like me, who heard about its greatness, but I wasn't around to play it back in the day. I didn't have like a console to play it on back in the day. It's great. Great game. Highly recommend it. Another thing I consumed this week, Star Wars. Star Wars has released a new episode of The Bad Batch that I was so excited for. I am going to get into spoilers on this one because it's a one-off episode of a show, partway through a show that has nothing to do with the overarching plot of the show. So, and the reveal that this character was going to be in the show was revealed in the trailer. So, for those of you who watch Clone Wars, I watched the new episode of The Bad Batch. Gungi lives! Gungi lives! They call him Gungi, but I always call him Gungi. Gungi lives! Gungi lives, the Wookiee Jedi! I was very excited when I saw him. Like, he was captured by slavers at the beginning of the episode, and then I was like, oh my god. I'm watching that show with my sister, because, she's my Star Wars fan sister, so. We've been watching a bunch of Star Wars stuff together. I was very excited to see that new episode of The Bad Batch. I was like, yes, Gungi's back. That was one of the episodes I was excited for. They did like a one-off episode with him. I don't think he'll be coming back for the rest of the season, but I don't care. What they did with him is great. They showed like him fighting off some Imperial slavers and whatever, and Wookiees. Some smugglers, and then good stuff. And he gets a moment where he's like, where he saves his people. They lure the bad guys into the spider den. By the way, there are these spiders in the episode that are so uniquely designed. They're like spiders, right? You would expect them to be, except they have like a neck and an eye growing out, a neck and a mouth growing out of their neck. Like, their mouth is like out here, but it also has like an eye on it, and it's also got an eye like on the it's a really unique design for a spider. Real unique. I'm gonna flash an image up here for you. It's a really unique. I'm going to flash an image of it for you guys. Yeah. I believe it's... Oh, nope, I don't want to go live. Season 2, episode 5, I believe it was. No, it was 6. No, it's 5. Bad Batch. Bad Batch. Spiders. This is the best I can get. Look at those things. It's like got a mouth, and then it's got like a neck attaching for another mouth, and then eyes on top. It's a really unique design. I was going nuts about that design in the episode. I thought it was really cool of a design. I wasted a little time there. I apologize. And another Star Wars thing I consumed this week with my sister was we've been binging Star Wars Rebels, which aired a few years ago. I'm gonna spoil that as well because it's Star Wars. If you really cared about seeing it and you were a Star Wars fan, you would have already seen it by now. So, as a Star Wars fan, I would know. Yeah, as a Star Wars fan, you can vouch if there every you know, as a Star Wars fan, you know about every bit about every Star Wars media that comes out, whether or not you watch it. If you don't watch it, it is likely because you don't care to watch it. You find out whether or not it's worth watching at some point. So I'm going to get into spoilers for Star Wars Rebels, especially because that show ended 5 years ago. 6, actually. That show ended in 2017. So, you know, I'm going to feel free to spoil. So the ending I watched the ending, the last, we basically binged the last season in 3 days. So we enjoyed that, and she got to really enjoy it. She was shocked when Kanan died. She thought it wasn't one of those shows where a main character could die, but it was the last season. So she got bumped on that. She was like, "What?" She was like, "Oh, wow, he's super powerful." Wait. Like that one scene, like that one meme. "Oh, it's class. It's a..." Like where they're celebrating, and that meme's I've seen that meme over that scene before, so I got to see her reaction with that when I first watched that scene when it aired a few years ago. It's also really nice because I forgot how good that show was, especially in the last season. So when I watched it, I was excited every week when that show was coming out. I was like, okay, that show's actually pretty damn good. The first season is like, okay, I can see why this isn't great. Season 2 also, yeah. But then season 3, it picks up. Season 2 had some incredible, season 2, I loved the finale. That was the first time I was ever really getting screaming at a TV. So, actually, no. It was not the first time I was screaming at a TV because there were kids shows like Dora the Explorer that I would watch, where's the mountain? I would scream, it's right there. Right? So I was that kid. I screamed along with them. I'm so glad. I wish shows didn't do that anymore, where they were interactive. Just make a kids show good, because honestly, I would watch a good, funny kids show. Sue me. If a kids show is funny, then I will watch it. So many great kids shows over the last decade, man. So many great ones. R.I.P. Cartoon Network. Speaking of kids shows, Phineas and Ferb is confirmed for 40 more episodes. Let's go, gang. Let's go. Phineas and Ferb. My generation is like, yes, more Phineas and Ferb. We're excited because my generation and the generation the everyone after like the class of 2017 and close to me, like we all we were the age for Phineas and Ferb when it was coming out. So very hyped for 40 new episodes. I'm guessing it's gonna be sort of the similar format, like maybe it's somewhere a year later. And the movie for that, when that ended, was so hype. Movie was so hype. I'm telling you, Avengers Endgame ain't got shit. The movie ends. If you're a Phineas and Ferb fan, you've seen it. It came out like 10 years ago, but whenever it came out, it was like, okay, it ended with like all the creations they built over the course of the series like coming back to, and they used them to like beat evil Doofenshmirtz. Like obviously not all of them, because like, you know, some of them are like, you know, a roller coaster or an untieable knot of yarn. Like you're not gonna fight evil robots, but like when the treehouse fights came back and all the other stuff, I was like, yes. Yes, I think the fish showed up. I forget. It was a long time ago when I watched that movie. I remember the treehouse fights was like one of my favorite episodes growing up. So I yeah. And I loved in that movie where Perry the Platypus or Doofenshmirtz was talking to evil Doofenshmirtz, where, you know, they were like, okay, you know, they were making fun of him for, you know, a platypus? Perry the Platypus! You know, they were making fun of him for it. They were like, all right, let's show this again. He showed a picture of Perry without his hat, and he's like, it's a platypus. He's like, no, that's Perry the Platypus. And then he showed him a picture. This is also Perry the Platypus. And he's like, oh, Perry the Platypus! And I'm like, okay. That's like possibly one of the best a platypus, Perry the Platypus moments in the entire Phineas and Ferb saga. I'm like, maybe there'll be also Ferb has Riz. We already all know that though. So you know. Also, Jeremy dies a virgin, and Phineas's real father is. Sorry, I follow Dan Povenmire on YouTube and TikTok, so you know. COVID, that guy was like, all right, I'm gonna fully commit to YouTube stuff. Yeah, a lot of kid. I haven't talked about the death of Cartoon Network, but Cartoon Network is a big that was a big part of my childhood, man. I could list, like, I know we all have our childhood nostalgic shows and we all share a lot of them. I have my childhood shows were basically everything Star Wars related, so Star Wars the Clone Wars, all the Lego things they did, um Star Wars Rebels, which I've already talked about today, and then like everything Lego related, basically. So like Lego Ninjago, Legends of Chima, if y'all remember that show. That show that show went hard back in the day. I watched Lego Ninjago up until like middle school, roughly. It was yeah, when Zane died, bro. Oh my god. And then the whole Tournament of the Elements season, I thought that was the best season in the show's run, personally. Still think it is. And I was very hyped for the Lego Ninjago movie when that came out in like 2016. Or no, 2017. Batman was 2016. Also loved Batman. All those Lego animated movies I love. If I could rank them all, it'd be Lego Movie 2, Lego Ninjago, Batman, and the original Lego movie. Personally. Lego Movie 2 did not live up to the hype that it had. I was very excited for that movie, though. I went and saw it in the theater because the original Lego movies are like one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I could give you my favorite animated movies of all time, and I will limit it to only one and I cannot give you any Pixar because, actually, I will. All right, these are in no particular order. The Incredibles, classic. All right, we all love The Incredibles. All right, I've never met someone that says The Incredibles was mid. The Incredibles is one of the best. It was a fantastic superhero movie before superhero movies were popping off. Keep in mind, it was like 2003 or 2004. All right, when that movie came out, so it was popping. That movie's as old as me. All right, it's popping. It was popping when it came out, and then the Lego Movie. I loved the Lego Movie. I saw the Lego Movie in the theater. Everything is awesome. I loved. I also big Lego kid growing up. Big Lego kid. So I was I loved my Legos, and I was like, yes, I love this movie. I loved these. I loved all the characters. And are you kidding me? Batman is freaking hilarious in it. Will Arnett is a hilarious Batman. I'm sorry. I love that movie. Benny, all he wanted to do was build a spaceship Unikitty, the fun lovey-dovey one who actually is a freaking psychopath underneath. Bad cop, good cop, Liam Neeson as a bad cop, good cop split personality. Absolutely love that. Love that. I'm telling you. Will Ferrell as a presidential dictator of a world. A lot of those jokes like that went over my head. Was like, wow. Like I didn't understand the idea of fascism at the time, but like there was the joke like, and it's like an Octan, they made great stuff. Like all our cars, all our music, our coffee, surveillance systems, voting machines, police, all that good stuff. And he's like, wait a minute. he figures it out like. As a kid, that goes right over your head, but it shows like the effort the writers had going into that. So that's two of them for me. That's two. I think of a lot of Kung Fu Panda. I just put the whole Kung Fu Panda trilogy in one, man. I loved those movies. Are awesome, man. Awesome movies. Kung Fu Pandas. All right. I am so hyped for Kung Fu Panda 4. I initially was nervous because I'm not watching that Jade Dragon show or whatever it is because it looks bad. Kung Fu Panda is not a show adaptation. It needs to be made by, with the budget of a movie, and it needs to be a fantastic movie. All right. And I love seeing Poe go on his struggles and such a great amount. Honestly, one of my favorite trilogies ever. Very comparable to Star Wars. People have compared it to Star Wars a lot, but it's an incredible trilogy. Everybody knows how amazing the Kung Fu Panda trilogy is. And then DreamWorks, man. DreamWorks made my childhood. I used to say Pixar was better, but I don't know, man. DreamWorks did have some bad ones, but you know what? In the last year, Pixar hasn't been doing too hot. Pixar's kind of sold themselves to the devil, aka Disney. So, we're all doing that here. But you know what? A lot of DreamWorks stuff. I wanted to throw in one Pixar for the sake of it. This one you're probably not expecting, and it is Disney. Emperor's New Groove. I love The Emperor's New Groove. It's a very underrated classic. Love that movie. Me and my cousin would always, like, it's tradition basically every time we go and visit my cousin, we watch The Emperor's New Groove. So, because we quote it constantly. So it's a classic. I feel like I'm talking to a monkey. Yes, a big, fat, stupid monkey whose name is Kronk. And you know what else? I never liked your spinach puffs. Oh, okay. She's going down. And then Cock's trident. So on that. And then I'm going to end it. Y'all are about to be blown away by this. All right? Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Such a good movie. Oh my God. Literally nothing was wrong with it. Nothing was wrong with it. I loved that movie. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen it, go see it. I won't get into spoilers because I already did an entire podcast about that. But go see Puss in Boots 2. Oh my God. If I can't talk to you about Puss in Boots 2, I know a lot of this podcast is me talking about media, but you know what? Media is all we have. If we can't talk about the media we consume, then why even consume it at all? All right? The whole point of consuming media is for us to gain something from it, and if we can't even discuss what we gained, then why did we even consume it? I could talk to more about that. You guys want to hear me rant about that? I don't know if you guys want to hear me rant about media. I'm just gonna talk about another bit of media I've been consuming recently. Uh, the Last of Us TV show. Anyone? Um, that episode that came out on Sunday. Won't go into spoilers, but heavily features Nick Offerman. It's more of a bottle episode. Um, because I'm gonna be needing the bottle after that, man. I watched it with my dad. Me and my dad are watching that show. My dad was gonna watch it because he heard it was good, and I was gonna watch it because it's The Last of Us. And my dad has no idea the video games, and that was the first episode that if you were going heads, I will say this. This isn't a major spoiler, but if you were expecting it to be based to be almost exactly like the game, episode 3 deviates from the games so much. It is a completely different story, and it is so sad. You, I'm telling you, it hit me like a truck. I was like, oh. Nick Offerman gave like a career best performance as Bill. It was the best episode in the show so far, and it deviated completely from what we were watching. And it's a really well made show, really well made. I love how practical the sets are. Everything feels real, like you were in the apocalypse, right? It's not like, oh, that's clearly fake, but it could have been all CGI, and my mind would have been blown. That's something I'll say. The sets and the effects are really good. The acting is also really good. A lot of people talk about Bella Ramsey. In disagreement there, I think she's actually really well cast. Bit of a take there. I think she captures Ellie very well. I think she does. And you know what? So does Pedro. Pedro captures Joel, and Troy Baker, the actor who plays Joel, came out and was like, "Hey, this guy made me think more about the character I played. I thought I knew everything there was to know about him, but you know what? Pedro showed me something." And then he's like, "You guys aren't gonna know though. That's something between me and him. You guys can try to figure out what that is on your own." I'm like, "That's cool. That's cool. I like that. I like that." Really good show. I'm watching it with my dad. It's just great TV, man. Great TV. If you wanna watch something that's if you want to watch some good TV on HBO, I highly recommend you check out The Last of Us. It's really good. First two episodes. I haven't even talked about the first two episodes on this podcast. The first episode really good. The opening was like, oh, and I saw it coming too. I was like, that's brutal. That's brutal. And then it ends, and you're like, yeah, yeah, okay. I'm excited for next week. And then the next episode happens, and it hits you with another moment where you're just like, it's like the tension is so high that you're quiet. So I'm like, and then there's a moment where I'm just like, it was an ending I saw coming, but I was still like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. Was not expecting that. Not expecting it to do that. Damn. And then I'm excited for I believe they air every Sunday. Sunday is when the last episode aired. So yeah, I told my dad, when the last episode airs, I really didn't want him. I told him, I'm like, "Dad, listen, Dad, when we watch this season's finale, please don't say this is the last of them." I saw it coming, and he got confused for a second. He was like, "What are you talking about? The last of wow?" I'm confused. I'm confused. I'm confused. And then I was like, because it's called The Last of Us, and he's like, "Oh." That was basically his reaction. Where he felt like an idiot for a second. So, yeah. Yeah. Last of Us on HBO. Great show. I've actually been talking like it's a based off of a video game. We're finally getting good video game stories in live action. Like, because most of the time we're not really getting the game as like Mortal Kombat. Like we don't see that as a or Tomb Raider, right? We don't see that as a you know we get like we get the characters, but we don't like get a game at all. We may get sequences from the game that are way better in the game than like we had recently. We had Uncharted, mid movie, very mid movie. Wasn't a fan. Casting wasn't great, but I did. Only part I liked was the Nolan North cameo. But you know, because Nolan North is the actor who played Nathan Drake in the games. So yeah, well, great game. Great. Last of Us is a great game, and I was like, and The Last of Us it came out 10 years ago. It's looked at as like having one of the saddest, best video game stories of all time, and I'm like, and it's not really gameplay focused. It's focused on telling you this story of these two people, both with their own issues and pasts, trying to survive the apocalypse together. And it's a really great story that you get to see. And then, it ends with like one of the toughest decisions in video game history. Not made by the player, the character makes. It's a decision the character makes, and you're like, damn, I don't know. Is he right? Is he wrong? And then a lot that's a big problem a lot of people had with The Last of Us 2, in that it picked a side on that. It sort of was like, okay, he made the wrong call in that. So, it doesn't feel good. It's and then you're supposed to like this other person, but I don't need to get into that. And then that is, I will say, that does make me nervous, because The Last of Us did confirm for a season 2, which means we might get a lot of what we got in Last of Us 2, because I'm guessing the first season is the first game. So, definitely interesting there. I'm guessing that's what it'll be. So I'm guessing season 2 might be The Last of Us 2. I'm also a bit nervous because if they want to deviate from that and tell something different, then what's to stop? I'm like, will it be that good? Will they have they have source material to up in their works. However, after seeing Sunday's episode, I was very, very, I'm doing a bit better. It was a very well directed episode and a very well written episode. You would think like, oh, the show has you in the mindset of like, it's gonna go bad. It's gonna go bad. This isn't gonna end well. This isn't gonna end well. It's the apocalypse. No one gets to be happy. Dead. Everyone's gonna die. Dead. It's gonna be sad, and you're gonna be mad, and then you're gonna move on because you're just so used to death that it doesn't even faze you anymore. So, yeah, but then it hits you with like, then it just reels you in. It like sorta, it's like, oh. God damn. I was just watching a show about zombies. Who knew it would get this emotional? It hits you like that. And you're like, damn. God damn. That's pretty emotional there. I don't know what to say now. Wow. This is really, really good. God. God damn. Huh. Yeah. So I highly recommend The Last of Us. Now to get into the section where I talk about what's been going on in my life. Um, you know, I've been working hard as a manager at my student store now, my school student store. I've been working hard at that. I've climbed that ladder, and we're also a week into the new semester, so I get to enjoy that. I do want to drop one of my classes and then maybe get it switched out for a TA, teacher's assistant, because I am not a fan. I have 2 acting classes back to back, and the teacher hasn't been there all week. So we've had subs both days, and they've just told us to watch stuff. And what ended up, basically, I've had 3 days in that class. Right, the first day was talk. All right, great. That's the class over. They were talking about like syllabuses and class expectations, and then teacher gave a little bit of backstory about herself, nothing crazy, and then it was talk, the same discussion for my next class, because it's the same teacher in the same classroom, different class, but same teacher. I didn't move my seat at all. Then we in my next class, it was, hey, today it was watch this, and watch this. We did a little improv game because, someone in the class felt comfortable organizing it. So we did that. I acted a scene where I was a psychotic Halloween decorator who went for realism, and a never-ending game of Duck, Duck, Goose. It ended with it was me and one other guy, and he just ran circles around the room and just patted my head and said duck, 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 duck. So, and then my 4th period was just watching the same clips. I might get a teacher's assistant. I might try to get my marketing and retail ops teacher, because then I could be like, yo, what if I was your TA this period, and then I could also work on student store stuff or my own stuff or whatever. I doubt he'd say no to that. I don't know what class he has 4th period. I know it's not a retail operations class. Because the 2 are 2nd and 6th period, and I'm in 2nd. So I know that. So, there's that. And then there's my yeah, so I get to enjoy that. And I've been running a lot this week too. Yeah, a lot of running. I'm in some of the best shape of my life, man. I should not be consuming these. I shouldn't be touching these. I shouldn't. I really shouldn't be touching these. This is terrible for me. I should be on a diet. I should be exercising I told myself I was going to work to get better arms, but I'm not. I'm barely doing shit. My fitness journey I talked about months ago isn't going anywhere. I have basically given up on it, and now I'm just back to my normal routine, and I don't like that, because my normal routine was holding me back. Granted, I'm running a lot faster now. So, there's that. I have track season coming up. Fingers crossed I'll walk out of there with a scholarship. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens though. If not, I'll have to see what happens. But yeah. I will say, if these podcasts don't go anywhere within the next few months, and if my YouTube channel doesn't go anywhere within the next few months, I may need to quit and get a real job. I may need to be like, all right, I won't make a big deal out of it this time. It'll be a silent break. It'll be a silent, you guys won't hear about it. I am past the point where I feel like I need to make that. I think I've conveyed very well that, this is more for fun than it is legit. I'm doing this just to talk. I'm doing this for, for you guys, not for me. I have no reason to be here. I could easily stop 1 week. So, I'm taking time out of my day to make these, and I'm a very busy man, so I have to slide these into my slots. I want to have the Recollection writers on here again. I do. I was going to talk to them about that. We are having a lot of difficulties with writing. Actually, no, we're not. Writing's going great. We're having difficulties getting. However, I will say Spencer, our lead animator, is getting a new computer where he can animate better and start actually producing proper animations. And he also, his sister has come on we brought his sister on as an animator, so that is very exciting. We'll have 2 animators, and then what we'll probably do is when the pilot airs, we'll air it alongside a Kickstarter. Also, I've saved this for the end, but the Recollection does have a YouTube channel. We are trying to get subscribers on it. I will be posting on there repeatedly. I do want to talk to Spencer and Ark about how we would handle that. Yeah, I think we might get some gameplay stuff on there. We have some shorts that I've put on there. I've thought they were pretty funny. One of them I thought was hilarious. We all thought it was hilarious. Us just goofing around. More of that. I think, yeah, that's definitely what I think we ended on. I would say fingers crossed we'll have the Recollection writers here next week. I want to have a guest next week, if not the week after. I do want to have a guest come out at some point. I get a week off from school in a couple weeks, so I might try to fit in a guest there because I'm a lot less busy, so I'm a lot more me and guests are a lot more flexible, so we'll see what happens there. This weekend I am drowned in meetings, and tomorrow I'm doing stuff after school. I might run. I know it's our coach's birthday, so we're all doing stuff for him, and then it's also my buddy's birthday, and I might make him something and leave it at his doorstep. Because he's my neighbor. He's also my neighbor. So might do that. We'll see what happens. For now, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Strawberries and cream. Good flavor.